We made a few technical changes in our studio today, and now we are just all over the place. To the point where the camera is mirrored. If you're just tuning in on the YouTube stream, I'm mirrored, and I don't know how or why that happened. We're gonna try and fix that. But anyhow, it's really nice to be along with you today here for 580 WIBW 104.9 FM on 580 Sports Talk, and now we're at equilibrium. So now let's get the show on the road today. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a bit. Brendan Dworzynski is off today. Lots to get to from the Chiefs. You know, I felt really good this morning because I was reading about Travis Kelce's podcast with his brother Jason. You're familiar, the New Heights podcast. And they put out their episodes on Thursdays, and obviously Travis has a lot to talk about with regards to the end of the Chiefs playoff streak and Patrick Mahomes' injury. And in the course of reading his comments, something that he said leapt off the page. And I said, this is interesting. I wonder if this is intentional. But one way or another, we're going to talk about this. We are going to discuss this on the program. And I wonder if anybody else is going to pick up on this. And it turned out that everybody in the world has picked up on it, basically, is what ended up happening there. But we're going to talk about it anyway. We're going to talk about what Travis Kelce said that raised some eyebrows and why, if you're searching for reasons to watch the Chiefs' final 3 games, and listen, I don't blame you. If you are a Chiefs fan, you're going to sit them out and find something else to do with your final 3 Chiefs game days of 2025. I don't blame you in the least. One thing I will never do on this program, never, is fan blame or tell you how to be a fan. Never going to do it. Never going to do it. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you why I would do things a certain way if that's how fandom were speaking to me, but I'm never going to fan blame, and I'm never going to tell you how to fan. I don't believe in doing that. So if you're out on the Chiefs for the rest of 2025, Mahomes isn't playing, the games don't matter, screw it, who cares? I'll find something else to do with my Sunday. I'll reintroduce myself to my wife and kids, do a little winter cleaning. I guess it's too late for some fall cleaning. You do a little winter cleaning, make sure those leaves finally get mulched, whatever you got. I don't blame you. But if you're looking for a hook to bring you back for those final 3 games, I'm going to tell you why Travis Kelce's the hook. And I'm going to tell you why he's so important in these final 3 games for the Chiefs. We're going to get there. We're also going to hear from the Chiefs today. You know, typically this is Wednesday, right? Did I say Thursday? I've been saying Thursday this whole time. It's Wednesday. Listen, I've slept maybe 4 hours the last 2 nights combined. Little sleep regression has hit my son like a truck. And if his sleep regresses, so does dad's. And so does mom's. I'm not leaving my wife out of this. But man, I really did say Thursday, didn't I? It is Wednesday, my dudes. Gracious. On this Wednesday, on every Chiefs game week Wednesday, we typically hear from Andy Reid and we hear from Patrick Mahomes. We play that audio for you on the program. For obvious reasons, Patrick Mahomes did not come to the podium today at 1 Arrowhead Drive. Rick Burkholder did, which was, I think, a really savvy choice by the Chiefs and Chiefs PR, and I applaud them for doing that. So we'll hear directly from Rick Burkholder, Chiefs head trainer. He spoke about the recovery process for Patrick Mahomes, how that's all going to go. And also Andy Reid spoke today. One of the shortest Wednesday press conferences, I think, of the season and maybe ever for Andy Reid. Came in under 5.5 minutes. So we'll hear from Big Red a little bit later on this hour as well. Plus, an offseason idea for the Chiefs that is starting to gain a little bit of national traction. Could the Chiefs actually trade Trent McDuffie? We'll discuss the latest on that from a couple of tied-in ESPN reporters a little bit later on in the show today. So plenty of Chiefs talk about, even if their season is functionally over on the program today. Also wanted to weigh in on something I didn't get to weigh in on when the news broke late last week. I think it broke on Friday. That the Big 12 Conference has struck or is close to striking and formalizing a private equity deal. And you know where I stand on the invasion of private equity into college sports. Once you let the devil in, there's no getting it out. And it's going to be very bad for your fan experience. Primarily, it will be bad for your fan experience. It will make being a fan worse. You notice how that works? You notice how everything day by day, inch by inch, just gets a little bit worse so that the people in charge of the things that you like, whether that's sports or whatever hobby you got, can make a little bit more money, sacrifice tradecraft, sacrifice quality, charge you a little bit more for something that you were already getting for free. Everything just gets incrementally worse, day by day, step by step. Private equity will accelerate that in college athletics. And the Big 12 is going to be first through the door. And I'm going to tell you why they're doing it and why I understand that it's come to this, and also why I really wish it hadn't. So I've got some thoughts on that coming up later in the show. Also, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, it is a Wednesday, my dudes. So Tim Fitzgerald is coming onto the program. I think I would have realized by that point, by the time I got around to Fitz, that, oh yeah, it is not Thursday. In fact, it is a Wednesday on the program. But it's a Wednesday, which means it's the Wildcat Wrap-Up with Tim Fitzgerald to GoPowerCat.com. We'll get his perspective on the Big 12's marriage to private equity. I wanted to get to it with Michael Swain, but we just had so much other stuff to talk about with Swain on Jayhawk Weekly yesterday. We'll get to it with Fitz today. Also talk to him about K-State players hitting the portal, the early days of the Colin Klein era, how that coaching staff is taking shape, and where K-State basketball stands coming off of their road win at Creighton with just 2 non-conference games to play. And that's all coming up with Fitz at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Plus your typical Wednesday shenanigans. We got one got to go in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll do What Is Wrong With You. We were going to crown a weekly champion today on What Is Wrong With You. You're thinking, wait a minute, you got shows Thursday, Friday, right? Yep, Thursday we're crowning a December champion. Friday, we're re-racking all of the monthly champions for the year in a little thing called The Year in What Is Wrong With You. And you are not going to want to miss that on Friday's show in the 4 o'clock hour. But in the meantime, we got to find a December champ, which means we got to find our final weekly champ, which is what we're going to do today. Your interaction is welcomed. You straighten me out on what day it is and give your other thoughts, comments, questions, concerns on the show. Text line is open, 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. We are streaming live. We did get that straightened out. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Invite you to subscribe to the channel. We must have had a fake subscriber account get zapped. So we're back down to 879 as of this morning. So we're back to being 21 subscribers away. Look, when you're a huge account like ours, sometimes you're going to attract some accounts that aren't really real. AI is everywhere. And it's the hazards of running a hugely popular YouTube account like we do here at 580 Sports Talk. But go subscribe to the YouTube channel today if you have not already, or go resubscribe if you accidentally unsubscribed. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. We're 21 subscribers away from our stretch goal of 900, whereupon we will do 580 Sports Talk Idle on the show. And if you are watching live from 3 to 6 Central on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, the live chat is open for business. You can leave your thoughts, your comments, interact with the rest of the 580 Sports Talk community on the show. See Vance, Mark H., and Paul in already today. Good to see you guys. Look forward to hearing from some more of you throughout the show in the chat. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on Facebook at WIBW News, and we'll interact that way as well. All right. Travis Kelce and the New Heights podcast. This is a podcast, I'll be frank, I'm not a regular New Heights listener. I enjoy the rapport that Travis and Jason have. As somebody who has a brother, I enjoy the back and forth, can relate to some of the brotherly, good-natured ribbing that the two guys give to each other. So it's an enjoyable listen typically, but I have found it to be a more revealing and interesting listen this year because the Chiefs have not been good. And so Travis Kelce unwinding that and processing that, particularly on the last couple of episodes of the show, that's a lot more compelling to me than Travis Kelce talking about, well, we won again. You understand? It's more interesting to hear an athlete sort of grapple in real time, week in and week out, with the mortality of their own team and indeed the mortality of his own career. Because Travis Kelce knows he's got more football behind him than he does in front of him. But exactly how much football does Travis Kelce have in front of him? A lot of keen-eared listeners think he might have given the game away on the podcast today. Obviously, he opened the podcast by talking about being eliminated from the playoffs and the injury to his quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. I would have loved to have played the whole thing for you, but I think there's a copyright issue there, and there's definitely a lot of audio editing I would have had to do to clean it up for terrestrial radio. But there was this portion of him talking about Patrick Mahomes that got a lot of attention today. And so now you can hear it for yourself. This is Travis Kelce from the New Heights podcast.
Obviously, it came out that the surgery went well. And, I mean, he's a warrior, man. I'm telling you, this guy's played through everything, battled through everything, has been crowned champion because he's battled through everything. And he's going to battle through this. It's the only way this guy is wired, man. He's a fearless warrior when it comes to this football thing. And he's going to make sure that he comes back stronger than ever. And you know, hopefully the Chiefs can get him back as soon as possible. I know right now it's kind of right around that week 1 or the beginning of the season next year. So I know he's going to be doing everything he can to get back out on that field for the Chiefs as soon as possible, man.
Not we can get him back. Not back for us. Hopefully the Chiefs can get him back. Hopefully he's back for the Chiefs in week 1. At a bare minimum, doesn't sound like somebody who thinks they're going to be a Kansas City Chief next year. And Travis Kelce doesn't strike me as the type to pull a Tony Gonzalez and keep playing out of spite somewhere else. That's not fair to Tony G. He was still great when he went to Atlanta. But I don't think that – I think it's the Chiefs or nothing for Travis Kelce next year. And that sounded like a guy who may have already made up his mind that is going to be nothing. Because there was that little pause before he started talking about Mahomes' availability for next year. And I think that was him choosing his words carefully on purpose, but I also think it betrayed perhaps what his plans are. Kelce has said publicly that he'll make a decision on whether or not he's coming back for 2026 before March. But I think he's made up his mind. And in truth, I think his mind has been made up since he decided to come back for 2025. That he was going to do it for one more year, and that was going to be it. I've believed that all season long, that this was going to be the last dance for Kelce. But I thought that quote, again, was very revealing. Already talking about the Chiefs as though they are a separate entity from Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce has been the Chiefs. One of the Chiefs. One of the most prominent Chiefs for so long. It's hard to imagine them without him, but it seems like Kelce already is. And Travis has the unique vantage point on what it looks like to retire on top as a player, but in a disappointing season for your team. Remember Jason's last season, his brother, first team All-Pro center in 2023. So as a player, doesn't get any better than that. Went out on top. But that was the year the Eagles collapsed down the stretch. They went from 10-1 to 11-6, and they got annihilated by the Buccaneers in a dismal wild card game. And Jason Kelce didn't say, well, no, I still got some good football left in me, and I'm coming back. I don't want to leave it on a sour note with a disappointing season. No. He said, I'm good. I proved what I needed to prove to myself, and I can call it a career. Travis Kelce, in a similar vein, proved this season he could still be great. It is obviously not the first team All-Pro standard that Travis Kelce has played to in his career, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's a second team All-Pro this year. I think Trey McBride for Arizona is going to be your first team All-Pro tight end. I think Kelce could be the second team. I really do. That would be the 8th All-Pro nod of his career. He's got 4 first team All-Pros, He's got 3 second-team All-Pros. I think he's going to be second-team All-Pro tight end this year. I really do. I don't know who else you give it to be frank, because Kittle's missed time and Bowers has missed time. And Kelce's had a really, really good year statistically. So, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't he be an All-Pro? But there's also no mistaking, even though you can say that is an All-Pro season from Travis Kelce, but you can also say that it is not a standard Travis Kelce season. He is not the player he was at his best. He is not the skeleton key that unlocked so much for the Chiefs offense during his prime years, particularly in the years following the Tyreek Hill trade. There was just nobody like him. And his presence made everything else work. His and Patrick Mahomes' presence, obviously. But everybody else in the skill position department was elevated because of the things that Travis Kelce could do and the threat that he posed, the gravity that he had every time he went out for a route. That's not there anymore. It's not quite there, not in the same way that it was at his best. So when Travis Kelce talks on the New Heights podcast, and I'm going to recommend that you do listen at least to the first 12, 15 minutes of the podcast, because, again, due to some colorful language, made the decision not to play a lot of it, but he talks about the importance of finishing the season strong. And I think he's talking about that as much for himself as for his team, because I do think these are the final 3 games of his career coming up. And maybe this is a foolish thing to say to Chiefs fans, because after all, Kelce's predecessor was an inner circle great as a tight end. Been an incredible run of tight end play in Kansas City, let's be honest. But you ought to appreciate the final 3 games that you get from 87. Because there might be other great tight ends to put on that uniform, but there's only ever going to be one Travis Kelce. And I think that's important to savor as a Chiefs fan, but I also think it's important to the rest of the team, to the young guys on this roster who for the final 3 games might not be playing for anything team-related, but are certainly playing for something as it pertains to their career. Whether you're fighting for a roster spot for next year, whether you're trying to prove you deserve an ample second contract like a Jalen Watson or a Leo Chanel, if Chanel gets on the field, because I know he was dinged up and didn't practice today. There are a lot of guys, younger guys, everybody's younger than Kelce, right? But a lot of younger guys on this roster who are going to go through the final 3 games, and they are going to have an example of how you carry yourself as a pro. Right there next to them, wearing number 87. And he's going to be doing anything but play out the string, because I think that's the only way he knows how to play. When you are as famous as Travis Kelce is, and I argue it's a level of fame that only a handful of players in league history have ever known, I think he's more famous than Patrick Mahomes. I think that's a different level of fame. It's a different kind of famous than great player, or even great player married to other famous person. Because there have been, great NFL players who were married to, maybe star athletes in other sports, or actresses or supermodels, certainly. Travis Kelce's marrying Taylor Swift, man. And that's a different level of fame. That is a different level of fame. Your grandma knows who Patrick Mahomes is. She knows all about Travis Kelce. She knows Travis Kelce's favorite food. Like, that's the level of fame we're talking about here. The level of devotion that we're talking about here that he inspires. And when you are that famous, you become a bit of a caricature and a bit harder to conceive as all of these stereotypical football player things. We think of Travis Kelce, we see him in a little bit of a different light. We can't help it. That's how famous he is. So we lose sight of his toughness, of the physicality he's always played with, of the pride that he carries himself with, the professionalism that he has displayed. Well, not for the entirety of his career. Remember that hand gesture he got flagged for when he was a much younger man? Yeah, I couldn't do it on the camera. I think I'd get in trouble. But you know the one. You know the hand gesture he did behind the referee that got him in trouble there. So the professionalism was a work in progress. That was something that built up over time. But as he approaches the end, that is a proud pro, Travis Kelce. And he's going to keep being that for the final 3 games. And it is an ideal model to have around this football team with the quarterback hurt, with the playoffs gone, with it feeling like, what's the use? What are we out here playing for? For who, for what, right? Travis Kelce will show you for what. For pride, for integrity. That was the word he used in the podcast. There's an integrity to it. And I cannot think of a better example to set for the young fans watching at home, but the young players on the Chiefs and in that locker room. If he's going to go out, he's going to go out in such a way that he can hold his head high. And you just better enjoy it while it's still there. It might be a bunch of 5-yard outs from Gardner Minshew instead of laser beam touchdowns over the middle from Mahomes that end Travis Kelce's playing career, but he's going to be a pro to the end, and that's worth celebrating. We're going to take our first time out here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we're going to hear from Rick Burkholder, the trainer for the Kansas City Chiefs. He spoke earlier today about where Patrick Mahomes goes from here, a couple of days removed from major knee surgery. We'll also hear from Andy Reid this hour. We're going to talk some Big 12 football. We'll talk to Tim Fitzgerald for the Wildcat Wrap-Up. We got a jam-packed show today. Really glad you're here on 580 Sports Talk. 3:33 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero with you. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. Spencer Dupuis will be along in a little while. Text line's open, 785-272-9429. And catching up on some text from after I left the show yesterday. Obviously went out to Silver Lake for some high school basketball last night. You missed some good basketball last night if you did not catch Tuesday night hoops here on 580 WIBW. Silver Lake boys and girls winners over Rossville in the first War on 24 hardwood edition of this season. Boys game in particular was outstanding, with Silver Lake pulling away late and holding on in the final seconds for a 71-68 win over Rossville. Super game. Two teams I think that are going to qualify for state, in my opinion. Silver Lake and Rossville. Lake in 3A, Rossville in 2A. I want to address the text from the 816 that we got yesterday, because I screwed up. I screwed up the day today. So you guys got to understand where my head is at. It's just, I'm getting no sleep right now. I'm a parent of an 18-month-old. I get no sleep. My head is gone. And yesterday I screwed up. I referred to the renovation of the stadium in Lawrence at the booth, and I mistakenly referred to that as the west side of the stadium. It is not the west side of the stadium. It's the east side of the stadium. I corrected myself in the moment. Not in the moment, but a couple of moments later, I was able to correct myself on that particular discussion. We had a good laugh about it. A texter for the 816 says, tell Dan, had he watched any KU games, he would know what side of the stadium it was. Hey, man, I went to more KU games this year than I went to K-State games, first and foremost. I want to get that out there. But number two, cut me some slack, man. I'm struggling. I'm obviously struggling. Cut me a little slack, right? Come on, man. Damn. I even corrected myself on my own. I said, wait a minute, that's not right. And I doubled back and the whole thing. And now you tell me I don't watch the games? Brother, I've watched a lot of games. I watch a lot of these games, just so everybody is clear. You can ask my wife how many of these games I watch. She'll tell you through gritted teeth how many of these games I'm watching. Anyhow, wanted to get in front of that. Rick Burkholder, Chiefs trainer, spoke to the media today. That is not a typical occurrence on a Wednesday at One Arrowhead Drive, but typically the starting quarterback doesn't tear his ACL. So Rick Burkholder explaining where Patrick Mahomes is at, the success of his surgery, and what his road to recovery looks like. Because, of course, we all have questions. We all Googled how long ACL rehab, or how soon can you return from ACL injury? We all did our Googles. Rick Burkholder's been in this, doing this for a living, so I thought it would be instructive to hear what the Chiefs trainer had to say here on 580 Sports Talk.
The guys that aren't practicing today.
No, that's the wrong one. That's golly, man, I'm struggling. That's Andy Reid. We'll hear from him in a little bit. You'll hear later on who the guys are that aren't practicing. Here's Rick Burkholder.
As everybody knows, Patrick was injured on Sunday night. He had a significant left knee injury on a non-contact hyperextension injury. Immediately following the game, we came down here and did an MRI. That MRI revealed an ACL injury, anterior cruciate ligament, and a lateral collateral ligament injury. That lateral collateral ligament you may see as a posterior lateral corner, because there's some other structures back there that constitute that. After that, our doctors, Patrick, his family, his agent, consulted, and then we sought out a second opinion, and the family and agent and Patrick and everybody agreed that he would go to Dr. Cooper in Dallas. Dr. Cooper set up an appointment for him Monday afternoon, and then operated on him Monday night. The reason he wanted to operate on him quickly, where we usually wait on the ACLs, is because the LCL, we wanted to reattach the avulsion injury there. As Dr. Cooper told us after seeing the MRI, and my doctor saw it, they said everything that he had in this injury was fixable, correctable, and it was fixed on Monday night by Dr. Cooper. He had no artery damage, no nerve damage, no joint surface damage, no meniscal damage. He's already started rehab down in Dallas. He was there first thing Tuesday morning, and he'll do that through tomorrow, and then he'll be back here Friday. As you know, in the past with Patrick and his injuries, he attacks them and does very well, and he's in that mode right now. I've talked to him every day. I know Coach has too, and he's already on it. He'll return here Friday, and for the majority of the rehab, he'll do it with my staff, and in particular, Julie Freimeyer, who's done his dislocated patella, his toe injury, and his ankle injuries. Anybody have any questions?
You didn't know then that night that there was an LCL injury?
Yes. But we wanted to wait until they actually got into the knee to disclose that it was that have them examined and everything to make sure that we had all the right nomenclature on that injury.
Sam?
Rick, I know you don't know the timeline yet, but can you give us a sense of like how the steps of the boxes are checked on any player, just generally speaking with an ACL?
Yeah, so it is a good question. It's coming up a lot. Every player is different. Every sport's different. Every position is different. And with him, traditionally, he's going after it so hard, and he's so in tune with what he does that he does it a little quicker. Ballpark on this thing is 9 months. Could be a month or two less, month or two more. You never know what goes on, and everybody's designed differently biomechanically. And so you just have to go through it. And then he's got, position specific things that he needs to do. So right now, I'll give you this, early on in the rehab phase, we're doing a lot to get his muscles firing, get the swelling down. And he's in a protective brace right now so that all that surgery heals in.
All right, guys, we're going to go last two, Todd and then Pete. Go ahead, Todd.
In today's world, are there new advances in recovery that weren't there 10, 15, 20 years ago that you can take advantage of now?
Oh, of course, there's new techniques out there surgically. And I think the bigger and faster these guys are, the more you see injuries like this. And so the doctors are better doing it. And certainly we all selected a doctor who's done this surgery in the past. And he did some techniques based on what was there, which are unique to the case. So sometimes you have to use a graft on the lateral collateral ligament. He didn't have to do that because he's got advanced techniques. And then the same way with rehab. I mean, we've gotten a lot better at rehabilitation, and the athlete's gotten way better at nutrition and recovery and all the things that go with it.
Last one, Pete.
You've seen a lot of players, and you've rehabbed Patrick before, I guess. Where does he stack up, just generally speaking, about ability to recover maybe faster than average?
Yeah, I think as you guys know, as a player, his mindset is a little different than most. He's so regimented at what he does. He's in here at 6 a.m. He's the last guy out at night. He'll take the rehab like that. He and I talked about, listen, you have a schedule right now in season where you get treatment at this time, rehab or film at this time, practice. That's how rehab's got to be, and that's how it's always been with him, and it will. And when you add up all the little things, that allows the player to get back faster. They don't heal up any faster. They just get back to performance faster.
So that was Rick Burkholder earlier today talking about Patrick Mahomes on the road to recovery. The interesting nuggets there, Julie Freimeyer, who has famously helped Patrick Mahomes rehab from other injuries, so famously that she was in a State Farm commercial with him, is going to be entrusted to lead a lot of this rehab process. And you have the timetable right there. Usually it's 9 months. Could be more, could be less. Which, again, you probably could have WebMD'd it and gotten a similar answer. But it's, I think the reason to be optimistic, if you remember, if you watch that Netflix series, Quarterback, the season that Mahomes was on, that's the only one I've watched. I didn't come back for like season 2 with Joe Burrow. Did they do a season 3? I genuinely have no idea. Like, I watched first one because I wanted to see the Mahomes bits. And all that physical training, biomechanic training he does with Bobby Stroop, his personal trainer. I think that Mahomes has a unique level of, I think they call it pliability physically, that I would imagine would aid in his recovery and make it possible for him to be on the short side of that recovery timetable. I like to think that anyway, but this is the part where I remind you, I'm not a doctor. But anyway, I thought that was interesting to hear. And I think a positive that Mahomes is going to keep a lot of the rehab in-house. I'm sure he'll continue to do his work with Stroop, but to trust the Chiefs medical staff with the rehab, I think that speaks volumes about the Chiefs medical staff. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Andy Reid barely spoke longer than Rick Burkholder did today, which I cannot remember a shorter, certainly not this season, but a shorter midweek press conference from Andy Reid in a good long while. We're going to hear it in its entirety next. We continue on 580 Sports Talk. .347 on 580 Sports Talk. Appreciate you being along on this Wednesday. Andy Reid spoke to the media earlier today at One Arrowhead Drive. Didn't take as long as usual. Here's what Big Red had to say about who's not practicing and how the Chiefs are approaching this upcoming game against the Tennessee Titans.
The guys that aren't practicing today, Leo Chanel, he's got a shoulder that's been bothering him. And then Trent McDuffie is continuing to rehab. We'll see where that goes here. Jalen Moore had the knee hyperextension. We're playing that by ear. He's getting better, though. Rasheed is in the concussion protocol. He came in Monday with that, and so those things happen, and we'll just see where it ends up going. Jawan Taylor is recovering from the elbow injury, and again, that's getting better. It's just not as fast as he wants it. And then Tyquan Thornton is also in the concussion protocol. So we'll just see how that rolls time-wise for the game. Look forward to the challenge of playing Tennessee. I mean, they're playing good football, particularly on that defensive side with that defensive front is another week that I'm telling you this, but they've got a heck of a defensive front. So, and then Mike's done a nice job of taking over as the interim. He's had a lot of experience as a head coach, so he knows how to handle a role like that, and has done a nice job of keeping the guys going and playing hard. And they've got a young quarterback that'll be an up-and-comer as time goes on here. He's had some really productive days there. So, anyways, with that, time, Jerry.
You played with without a lot of players over the years, but just Patrick has such a presence in this building. Is it a strange feeling just not having him here? What is it like just not having him around?
Yeah, we love having him around. I mean, it's not like there's anything there, but him missing, everybody feels for him. At the same time, it's a crazy business that way. He moves on, and Minshew steps up, and now he has an opportunity to play, and thank goodness he's here, right? So he's got experience, and the guys trust him, coaches trust him, but like we all love Pat, and he's a special kid. Yeah.
Rick said you talk to him every day. Just what your conversation's been like, the part that you're willing to share.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's so positive right now. And he, like Rick said, I mean, he attacked this thing the day after, but you wouldn't expect anything less. Get me up and get me going. I mean, he was basically saying that an hour after the game, so brace me up and let me go. So it's not one of those injuries, obviously, but that's his mindset. So I think he'll do great with the rehab. He's a pretty fast healer that way. So, and his attitude, that's about.
That there are kind of veterans here, guys that are trying to get taped out there, and how do you balance that with trying to play with some of the younger guys that you're trying to get a look at, Matt?
Yeah, I mentioned this to Soren the other day. That all our young guys are playing. I mean, they're in there and going. So Chew actually got some good reps in there, and might have a chance to get some more. So, and he was our international player. So we've got them all going. They're all rolling. Yeah.
Coach Rick mentioned that his staff and Julie would lead the rehab for Patrick. He also has his own training staff that he works with in Dallas. Do you expect that he may split time between the two and bring on his own staff as well?
He's got a great relationship with Julie, and so I would imagine that would be the primary one. And then if he were to go to Dallas to visit or have a change of scenery for a minute, I think the majority of it will be done with Julie. She kind of takes care of him and when he has different injuries or whatever maintenance stuff. So I would presume he'd just be here the majority of the time. Yeah.
Is there a team policy on that? Like you want them in the building or whatever they want?
No, we can't kick him out of the building, so the guy's always here. That's how he is. So it's, but no, there's a whole union thing there too. So, yeah.
Will he travel with you guys to the game, or is he not ready to travel? I know he probably
he won't travel this game. No. Yeah.
Probably like to be on a headset somewhere listening, though, wouldn't he?
No, that's the way he goes.
Has he been? Will he talk to Gardner at all? Help out this week? I know he's not going to be back here till Friday, Rick said.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably already talked, but they're friends, so I don't know how much he'll be in the game, but he's trying to get himself right now. So, but I know he would wish Gardner the best going into this.
That was Andy Reid earlier today at One Arrowhead Drive. We'll take one more timeout, come back, wrap up this hour. A couple of YouTube comments I want to get to. 580 Sports Talk, the YouTube channel. A couple of comments from the live chat I want to get into before we wrap up the hour here on 580 Sports Talk. .355 on 580 Sports Talk, wrapping up hour number one of the show today. We're with you until 6. A couple of thoughts from the YouTube comments that I wanted to get into the live chat today on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of discussion for these last 3 games regarding the Chiefs about the idea of tanking, to tank or not to tank. And I kind of spoke in my piece on that you don't see real tanking in football like you do in other sports because careers are too short and the opportunities to play are too valuable that you're just never going to see a team completely mail it in. But 2 things that are factors here. Number one, and Joe points to this in his comment, they might not intentionally tank, but this team as it is not good. And you have the record that points to that, but you also have all the potential injury absences. Chiefs are going to obviously without QB1. They could be without their best wide receiver. They could be without their best cornerback. They could be without a starting linebacker. They're already down to tackle 5 and 6. Like, if you were doing that on purpose, people would say you're tanking. If you were benching all of those guys on purpose, tanking may be thrust upon the Chiefs. It may not be a choice that they make. The flip side of that is going to be very hard to be worse than the Titans and the Raiders, even with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. And those are 2 of the final 3 opponents. JW argues in the YouTube comments that tanking would be a bad idea. Says tanking or the appearance of tanking earn teams players like Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. Please, Chiefs, do not tank. Here's the thing about tanking. The idea is you tank, you get a higher draft pick, right? If you screw up the high pick, that's on you, right? If you get access to the number 1 overall pick and you blow it, that's on you. But you got the desired outcome. The desired outcome is not the player you get with your pick. The desired outcome is the access to the blue chip talent. If those teams had made better picks, we'd be talking about, oh man, yeah, tanking's the way to go. But, Jameis Winston wasn't the right pick. Tua Tagovailoa wasn't the right pick. So it's about the higher draft pick is not about, oh, you got to get this guy, but buyer beware. It's about the access to the blue chip talent. The Chiefs haven't had picking 31st and 32nd for the last 7 years. That's why it's important to get as high a draft pick as you can if the Chiefs were to go the tank route. Coming up, I'm talking about the Big 12's private equity deal, and we're talking to Tim Fitzgerald. Go PowerCat.com on 580 Sports Talk. Well, let's get it. Now, number 2 of this Wednesday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Happy Hump Day, one and all. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock tonight on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And again, in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. Great to have you along. 2 more hours to spend together. A lot of college sports talk this hour. We're going to talk about the Big 12 and their pending private equity deal. We're going to talk to Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com, for the Tallgrass Windows and Doors Wildcat Wrap-Up. Looking forward to speaking with Fitz, as always. Plenty to talk about in Wildcat country. So Fitz will join us at the bottom of this hour. We are crowning our weekly champion for this week on What Is Wrong With You. Tomorrow, we'll have a 3-way dance for the title of December champion. And then on Friday, you won't want to miss it in the 4 o'clock hour. The year in What Is Wrong With You. We will re-rack the 12 monthly champions. You will hear all 12 stories in the manner in which they aired live originally when we first brought the stories. So all of the initial reaction to the stories, all of the jokes, good or bad, all 12 of our monthly What Is Wrong With You champions, leading up to the 3-day What Is Wrong With You Tournament of Failed Champions grand finale. And on next Friday's edition of the show, the day after Christmas, one late Christmas gift for all of you, we will crown our yearly 2025 What Is Wrong With You champion. Whose jersey will be hoisted to the rafters following last year's champion? Dog looks like a panda, and other great champions from years past, Tailpipe Girl, the grilled cheese standoff, the wrong house demolition, the number 1 dad. So many great stories from years past. Who will join them in the rafters, the metaphorical rafters? We don't actually hang the What Is Wrong With You champions in the rafters. That'd be a great bit. Get some needle and thread and stitch some banners with the What Is Wrong With You winners. We don't actually do that. Maybe one of these days we get a little antsy, do some arts and crafts time, and we'll come up with something. But so we're going to crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You today. Lots of headlines in the 5 o'clock hour. Whole lot going on. Star NFL player gets wildly anti-Semitic on a live internet stream, and that's not the thing people are talking about. Way to show your whole entire ass, Puka Nacua. Also, some K-State players entering the transfer portal. The roster moves for the Chiefs today. The NBA Cup crowned a champion last night. We'll get into all of that and more in headlines. We'll play One Gotta Go.
Did you see they're going to change things up in the future and play games at iconic college venues?
That is what Adam Silver says, because Adam Silver went to Duke. We'll see. That's all I have to say about that is we'll see. Don't clear your schedule for an NBA Cup game at Allen Fieldhouse. Let me just say that. Let me get right out in front of that.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Adam Silver saying that because Adam Silver went to Duke. That's it. That's it, and that's all. That's the only thing that you're getting from there. Also, the contract with Vegas runs out, and so it's a little bit of posturing. Anyway, lots of headlines. We'll talk some more Chiefs. We'll play One Gotta Go. Still plenty to come in these final 2 hours of 580 Sports Talk. You can interact with us on the text line, 785-272-9429. You can also interact via the live chat feature on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. If you are watching the show live, we have the live chat open. Hop in, say hi, interact with your hosts, interact most of all with your fellow listeners, and grow the 580 Sports Talk community in the chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. I didn't get a chance to weigh in on this when it was announced. I believe it was on Friday, because it was something that you guys handled in headlines, and I wasn't around to get to it. But the Big 12 is in the final stages of cementing a $500 million agreement with a couple of private equity firms, Weatherford and Redbird Capital.
We talked about Utah.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe this was a supplemental to that. Utah did their own thing.
Yes, that's what we discussed. And then we kind of left it where his Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark has spoke on it before.
Yeah. And give Brett Yormark this. He wasn't totally lying. He did not all the way lie. He was a bit of a half-truth. So when he spoke at the Women's Basketball Media Day in Kansas City just about a month or 2 months ago and said, and I'm quoting here, private equity doesn't work for us. All right, that looks like a lie. But another thing that he said over the course of those remarks, and here I am paraphrasing, was that the Big 12 believed in its future and didn't feel like it needed to sell a stake in its future. And that appears to be true for now, because the most notable thing about this private equity deal, other than the Big 12 being the first conference to enter a deal with private equity, is that it notably does not give up any ownership or equity in the conference or any of the 16-member schools' athletic departments, which I see that as hopefully something that sticks, because I agreed with Brett Yormark when he said that they don't need to sell a stake in their future. But clearly, the conference has felt like it needs to secure its future. This private equity deal, when it is finalized, when it is rolled out, when the Big 12 does the press release and Brett Yormark does press conference with people from these capital firms, it will all have happened because the Big 12 is scared and the member institutions are scared. Certain member institutions, certain types of member institutions, most of all. Let me explain what I mean. So the structure of this private equity deal, it's a $500 million line of credit, effectively, from these capital firms. $500 million to the conference. And it is best thought about as a fund, like a credit card, that teams have access to. Athletic departments have access to up to $30 million per school. Big 12 schools can borrow from this line of private equity credit and pay it back at a discounted interest rate. That's what's in it for the private investment firms. This isn't a $500 million gift. This is not David Booth cutting Kansas a check, right? These capital firms, they're going to want something back for their investment. And they're going to get it back in interest, even at a discounted rate. The other idea from the investment firms is that they can use this partnership to help generate new streams of revenue from the conference. And the idea from the conference is that they'll hope to create new ventures and new commercial business opportunities with the money invested. If that makes your eyes glaze over, you're not alone. I almost fell asleep putting this segment together, at least this part of it, because when you start talking dollars and cents and commercial ventures and revenue streams, that's not what any of us come to sports for, right? Like you're not sitting in the stands at Bill Snyder Family Stadium on a Saturday before the game talking about what else is going on in college football, or talking about, oh man, I wonder what kind of revenue stream Cincinnati is going to generate this week. I wonder what the books look like for West Virginia. No, man, we're talking about quarterbacks and coaches and point guards and great games and tough places to play. We don't really, at the end of the day, care about this stuff. We really don't. We don't want to see how the sausage is made. We just want to eat some sausage. End of the day, that's where we are as sports fans. So this stuff bores me. If this stuff bores you, it bores me too. But I think it's important to get to the why of this, the why this is happening, why in particular it's happening for the Big 12, because they're not alone in looking for more money. Every athletic department in major college sports is looking for more money. The House settlement puts a $20 million revenue sharing cap on athletic departments. And a lot of schools are going to struggle to meet that and share that kind of money with their athletes across all sports. That's a $20 million rev share cap across all sports. And there are a lot of schools that can't get there right now as their athletic departments are constituted. It's why even a league like the Big Ten, who's separated itself financially along with the SEC from the rest of major college sports, is really interested in doing this, except for the schools that don't have any problem getting to that $20 million and then some, Michigan and USC. Those are the schools that don't think this is necessary. They've got it. They've got it like that. And don't feel the need to dip into or sell an equity stake in the conference or sell an ownership stake in their athletic department, which kind of makes this Big 12 deal probably a blueprint for what it's going to look like when all the other conferences get in bed with private equity. But at the end of the day, the why of this, the why is because the Big 12 is scared and certain member institutions are scared because the future of what we know as major college football looks a lot like a super league. The biggest brands from the most powerful conferences, the schools that have the ability to meet the revenue sharing cap and go beyond it with NIL opportunities for their athletes are going to shut out the little guys. And it will be a closed system. Make no mistake. This is not going to be like the English Premier League where we do promotion and relegation. No, once you are out, you are out. And nobody's safe. You think you're in the SEC and you're safe? You're wrong. You think you're in the Big Ten and you're safe? You're wrong. You think Michigan and Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia and LSU wouldn't love to boot out Purdue? Wouldn't love to get rid of South Carolina? Mississippi State? Iowa? They will. They will. They won't hesitate. So once you are out, you are out. And you no longer have a place at the big kids table in major college football. Everything else, fair or unfair, will be seen as lesser. And everyone lives in fear of being shut out because so much of the value universities see in themselves comes from their athletic department. And whether you are a sports fan or not, whether you went to a major university and you were at every football game, every basketball game, baseball, whatever else, or you don't care one lick for sports, sports played a major role in your university experience, and they play a massive role in the day-to-day operations of a university, from revenue generation to maintaining alumni relations to driving enrollment. Sports matter a lot to major universities. And so the opportunity to appear on the biggest stages matters a lot to these universities. And when it comes to the upcoming House settlement, revenue sharing, and outside NIL opportunities, basically the way that roster building is going to be funded in football.
On air and online.
The Big 12 has some schools that can spend like the big boys. Right? Texas Tech, they've got their oil money. BYU, they got that cookie money. Although I hear hasn't been a real good last week for the Crumble folks.
Something to do with Penn State.
No. So that was the running joke after Kalani Sitake stuck around is that it was Big Cookie came up with the money. The CEO of Crumble Cookie is a BYU alum, has ties to BYU, and supports their athletics. But I heard Crumble's not having a great week. Might be struggling a little bit.
Interesting.
I hope not. I love Crumble cookies. Anyway, but
way too expensive though.
That's your opinion. BYU has cookie money. That's where they get it from, right? That's why they're expensive. So you can pay Kalani Sitake. That's what you're doing. You go to Crumble, you get a 6-pack. You just bought Kalani Sitake like 1/10 of a starting cornerback or something. BYU has cookie money. KU, they've got a sugar daddy. They got David Booth. For the rest of the conference, you've got a lot of land grant schools with not a lot of wealthy donors. Kansas State falls in this department. Oklahoma State, since the passing of T. Boone Pickens, falls in this department. Iowa State falls in this department. And those land grant schools in particular are terrified of becoming Washington State and Oregon State. Land grant schools who got shut out when the Pac-12 dissolved, and now look at them. Now look at those football programs. And those were never dominant football programs. Like here and there, like Washington State has been to a couple Rose Bowls in my lifetime. One time, Oregon State was preseason number 1 in the country in Sports Illustrated. Remember that Sports Illustrated? You don't remember that Sports Illustrated cover, Spencer. Ken Simonton on the cover of Sports Illustrated?
I definitely don't.
Yeah. That was 2000, I want to say. But
I was not getting Sports Illustrated at the ripe age of 2.5.
Understood. But like these are proud football programs with proud histories and great rivalries and turned out NFL players. And even if they weren't national championship contenders, they had a place in the college football landscape right up until they didn't. Right up until they didn't, because the other leagues did not see the value in Wazoo and Oregon State, and they got shut out. And those programs are a shell, a husk. Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, in particular, those three schools are the biggest example of schools that look at what happened there and are terrified of the same fate happening to them. Broadly speaking, I question the wisdom of trying to keep up with the Joneses in college football, because the Joneses have been the Joneses for the entirety of the history of college football. If you really think about it, who in the last 30 to 40 years of college football, I give you 30 to 40, I give you my lifetime, the mid-'80s to now, what schools in that time frame have entered the picture as perennial national championship contenders? Which schools were not that then and are that now? Oregon, because they got Nike money.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Has anybody else who was outside of that picture entered that picture and are now considered perennial contenders? Don't bring up Indiana. They're not part of this discussion because they're good this year, and they were solid last year, but they were really good this year.
Talk to us in 15 years.
Yes. Run it back when they go to play for national championships in multiple decades, and we'll have that conversation about Indiana. It feels more possible to enter that conversation in the short term now, because we live in a world where Indiana is the number one seed in the expanded playoff, and Texas Tech, who's never come close to winning a national championship in football, has a first-round bye in the expanded college football playoff. But it doesn't feel like anybody's going to enter that group, that club of your national championship caliber programs more than in a lightning in the bottle type situation, which is, until further notice, what we have at Tech and what we have at Indiana. If anything, more programs have excused themselves from the discussion. Best example of that, hate to do it to you, our neighbors to the north, but Nebraska. They were that kind of program. They are no longer that kind of program. And I don't see the path back for them ever being that kind of program again. And I hate to say that, but it's true. You are not going to be Alabama. You are not going to be Georgia. You are not going to be Ohio State. And a program like Kansas State should not be trying to keep up with those programs. They shouldn't. But I also understand why Kansas State is afraid of becoming Washington State, or why Iowa State, and I think Jamie Pollard expressly has said this out loud, their athletic director, basically said, look, if we don't really step up our game when it comes to NIL in this rev sharing era, we're basically just Northern Iowa. I understand why those programs, why a school like Colorado or a school like Utah, who was the first individual school to say, hey, man, we need this money. We need this money. We don't care where it comes from. We'll ask those questions later. We need this money now. Otherwise, we risk slipping into irrelevance. Like, y'all know what Utah football was back in like the 70s and 80s? I can tell you exactly what Utah football was. My great uncle was the head coach at the University of Utah in the 1970s. I think he went 5-23 in 3 years. That was Utah football. That was Utah football. They're afraid of becoming that again. And I understand it. I get that fear. I just wish we were not in an environment where that was a necessary fear, where you had to feel like either we get to the level of competitiveness, of brand recognition as an Alabama, as the elite programs, or we're going to get shut out of big boy college football. I just wish the environment still existed where it was okay to just be the best Kansas State that you could be. Because Kansas State's really good at being Kansas State. At its best, Kansas State is really good at being the best Kansas State it can be. But we're in an environment where that's not good enough. And it's an environment where that problem is fixed with money, even if it's somebody else's, and even if they're going to want it back with interest. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Crown of What Is Wrong With You champion for the week. We've got Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com coming up in a bit as well. This is 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you? Time on 580 Sports Talk. We've got 2 new stories today, and the winner today is going to be our winner for the week on What Is Wrong With You. Our current champ, a brief joyride without any briefs. The gentleman who wriggled underneath the fence to a police station parking lot in Commerce City, Colorado, stole a police car, and he wasn't wearing any clothes. Didn't get far, got in trouble. Naked joyride in a stolen cop car. That's a pretty hard-hitting premise. We got 2 new stories. Spencer, I'll let you go first.
All right, we are going to go to Lee County, Florida. Last Friday, a man from Cape Coral was arrested early Friday morning after he allegedly broke into a house, escaped from deputies, and choked a police canine during his arrest.
He choked a dog?
Yeah, the Lee County Sheriff's Office said that around 9 a.m., deputies responded to a report of a burglary in progress at an apartment in the Whiskey Creek area. The resident reported that the suspect, later identified as Xavier Jefferson, had entered their home while they were sleeping and was found sitting on their couch. As Jefferson fled the scene, one of the victims allegedly followed him and provided deputies with real-time updates on his location. LCSO said that deputies found Jefferson near Whiskey Creek Drive and College Parkway, where he refused to obey their commands. To apprehend him, Canine Vader was deployed. LCSO said when contact was made, Jefferson placed Canine Vader in a headlock, choking the dog. Fortunately, Canine Vader was evaluated afterward and did not sustain any injuries per LCSO. Jefferson was ultimately subdued with a taser, taken into custody, and is now facing multiple criminal charges, including trespassing, resisting an officer without violence, and animal cruelty.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Throw the book at that guy.
No, this guy sucks. I don't condone police violence, but choking a dog, they should have tased that man into oblivion. And I'm glad they did. The response was appropriate.
Yes.
And honestly, I might have slipped in a couple of shots to the ribs or one of those.
I'm just glad Vader's okay.
Yeah, me too. I got a really simple story today. Fight night at the West Hartford Chipotle, West Hartford, Connecticut. Fight broke out at the Chipotle on Saturday. Somebody went over the counter. I've watched the fight footage. Obviously, it's hard to show the fight footage on a radio show. But, somebody got upset with whoever was checking them out at the end of the line and went over the counter and started brawling with the Chipotle employees. No arrests have been made. The case is under investigation by West Hartford police. I don't understand. Like maybe there was a dispute about whether I got enough meat with my double meat.
This isn't no fight night at a laundromat, though.
No, not a laundromat. No, not as good as that story. But it wins by default because we're not letting the canine guy win. Real quick, do you have a go-to Chipotle order?
Just give me a bowl. Give me white rice, black beans, chicken, a little bit of lettuce, some guac, queso, sour cream.
Okay.
I think I'm not forgetting anything.
I go chicken burrito, white rice, black beans, pico, light sour cream, light cheese.
See, I've come to find out that if I get a bowl and I get it correctly, it could be 2 meals for me.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if you go in there, sometimes they give you double without paying for double.
That is true. You got to time it right. You got to have a permissive person back there doing the scooping. Anyway, that guy wins today. The guy who tried to fight the Chipotle employees. But I think our guy who stole a police car while
naked
in his birthday suit is going to be our winner for the week. So he will advance to tomorrow. We will crown a December champion tomorrow, and we will crown a yearly champion next week on the show, on our final show of the year, Friday, December 26th, which means this Friday, it's the year in What Is Wrong With You, all 12 monthly champions together again to relive. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you'll join us on Friday for that. Tim Fitzgerald joins us after this timeout for the Wildcat Wrap-Up, sponsored by Tallgrass Windows and Doors here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Playing Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Ask for a subscription for Christmas. I hear it makes a great gift. This is the Wildcat Wrap-Up, sponsored by Tallgrass Windows and Doors, who provide high-quality products at affordable prices. You can check out their showrooms in either Wamego or Lawrence, or visit them online at tallgrasswindows.com. Excellence without exception. That's Tallgrass Windows and Doors. Fitz joins us every Wednesday at this time. And Fitz, we're going to get into some K-State sports here in just a bit. But I do want to get your reaction to the apparent private equity deal that the Big 12 is about to strike, not selling an ownership stake or an equity share in the conference or any of the athletic departments, but essentially just a great fat line of credit for the 16 Big 12 member institutions to be able to dip into. How do you feel about, and it's not been finalized yet, but what were your initial thoughts when you heard the Big 12 was close to getting this over the line?
Well, better as a loan, as a line of credit than an actual investment. I don't quite grasp the Utah situation. I'm not sure how they're going to recoup their money in that time period, but that's their issue. I'm not crazy about it, to be honest. But if you're going to go in debt, because Big 12, if somebody goes, you want to compete, you're going to have to accrue some short-term debt. And this seems like a fairly manageable way to handle it. It still makes me uneasy for whatever reason, but the Big 12's got to figure out how to get more money in its pockets. And maybe Brett Yormark is selling this as, hey, this is a temporary bridge to our next TV contract, because I'm hearing really good things from entities about what they're going to come in at.
That's a fascinating discussion for, I think, a few years down the road, Fitz. And I have some ideas about what TV partners in particular that the Big 12 is particularly thrilled about their partnerships with in the early stages, not to give away the game, TNT, but that's another topic again for future days. But there's plenty to talk about on the field as well, and off the field with Kansas State athletics specifically. So let's start on the football side of things. Couple of more transfer portal departures announced today. Both defensive end Ryan Davis and defensive back Donovan McIntosh announcing they are going portaling. Obviously, Jace Brown hitting the portal yesterday. Has there been a name so far from the Kansas State roster to hit the portal that you were particularly surprised to hear, or has it been sort of, this kind of makes sense for the player in the program at this stage?
Yeah, you know what? No, nothing will surprise me. I mean, literally anyone on this roster transferring won't surprise me. I guess, though, if you're looking for someone that kind of made me tip my head a little bit, is Ryan Davis. He played quite a bit. He retained his position coach, so the changes for him are less. But I think what we're probably seeing here is an adjustment between coaching staffs about the different values that these players might have. And maybe they undervalue them compared to what the players think they're worth, and they're just going to move on. You know, hitting the portal doesn't mean you're leaving for sure. It usually does, but they can always come back. But I think this is going to be part of the alignment of getting into a new program at Kansas State. Is he's going to end up with his players, and he's already got a GM in place. So it's not like these guys are leaving without anyone to talk to. They're leaving with a very experienced general manager in terms of football that probably knows exactly what they're willing to pay for each level of player, and they didn't meet the level that they think they're worth.
Tim Fitzgerald at GoPowerCat.com joining us for the Wildcat Wrap-Up presented by Tallgrass Windows and Doors here on 580 Sports Talk. Jace Brown hitting the portal was something we all thought was coming last year, and then abruptly it did not. And my understanding was that was because K-State was able to get to his number, frankly, when it came to NIL. Is this simply not getting to the number that Brown now feels he is worth after leading Kansas State and receiving this past season and really establishing himself as one of the top playmakers in the Big 12, or is there something more at play with regards to that relationship?
Yeah, I think, to be real honest, Jace Brown thinks he's probably worth a lot of money. probably exceeding what K-State thought. And also, I've kind of sensed from Jace a desire to be on a bigger stage, which is, just the way it is. Will Howard did it. We didn't know he was going to go to that big a stage, but he did it. And I think Jace wants to see how he matches up, maybe in the SEC. We'll see what the desire is, what his actual market value is. These guys think they know what their number is, but the market will bear that out. And I imagine someone will pay him, because there's some schools out there with exceedingly bigger budgets than Kansas State that will probably value him at the number he wants. So I think it was a business decision at the end of the day for Jace, and so be it. K-State will move on.
Obviously, that's a big hit to the wide receiver room. The transfer portal has been hit or miss, to put it mildly, for Kansas State. They've had some success stories. Jerron Tibbs was the success, I thought, this year for the Kansas State receiver room. They've also had some pretty noteworthy misses in that wide receiver room. Do you think that Kansas State looks heavily to the portal at wide receiver this coming off season, or are they going to try to develop some guys in-house? Adonis Moise got a lot of playing time. They've got some JUCO wide receivers coming in they're excited about. Do you think that's an in-house position that they'll look at, or do you think that they will be really hard into the portal looking for wideouts?
I think they'll look for some. I am fascinated to see how heavy they do go into the portal and for what purpose. You can go to the portal for a number of reasons. You can go there to shop, spend a lot of money, and be on sacks, or you can go to Target and maybe pick up a bargain on something that you need for your roster and to help with your depth. So I'll be really interested to see what approach they take.
Tim Fitzgerald is our guest on the Floating Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Joins us every Wednesday at this time for the Wildcat Wrap-Up, sponsored by Tallgrass Windows and Doors here on 580 Sports Talk. Kansas State's still in the process of building out their football staff under Colin Klein. Buddy Wyatt, we know, is sticking around as a defensive line coach. You had alluded to that earlier. That is at least one holdover from the Chris Kleiman staff. How important do you think it is to have even any holdovers from the Kleiman staff to this one? And what are your thoughts on what Buddy Wyatt can bring to the Colin Klein coaching staff?
I think what we're seeing here is nobody's staying just because they were on the staff. We expect Brian LePack to stay. Maybe he's fielding other offers, but he and Colin are exceptionally close. And it won't surprise me at all if LePack's the OC and Colin calls the plays. And Buddy Wyatt, well, we think Jordan Peterson from A&M is going to come in as defensive coordinator. We're not sure, but that's our belief. And Buddy Wyatt coached him and coached with him. And so there's an existing relationship there. And Buddy's just highly respected. He's done a great job at defensive ends. So, yeah, he gets to stay on. I thought it was interesting, though, his title switch from defensive ends to defensive line, which be an indication to me K-State is planning to use a three-man front. And he's going to coach all three spots.
Stanton Weber coming back to Kansas State to coach special teams felt like one of those that was almost too obvious a connection to ignore when Colin Klein became the new head coach. He comes in from coordinating the special teams at Toledo the last 3 years. Obviously, special teams have been a disappointment relative to Kansas State's lofty standards in that area in their program's history, Bill Snyder and post-Bill Snyder. How much do you think Stanton Weber can contribute to turning things around in the third side of the ball, if you will?
I think a big part of it just starts with Colin Klein and adapting the Snyder principles of how much you work on special teams. He gets it. Honestly, Chris Kleiman and his coaching staff never got why K-State valued special teams so much. And I kind of feel like if they had, they would have won more games. It just was always the X factor Bill Snyder built into things that gave his team an unexpected advantage. You might be better offensively and defensively a little bit, but we're going to be a lot better in special teams, and we're going to make the most of it. And we saw that play out time and time again with non-offensive scores. So I think Stanton's going to have a lot of mobility and to go do what he needs to do. I think he's going to be a full-time on-the-field coach, not just a special teams analyst or a coordinator that isn't technically a coach. They can do things with titles now. I think Stanton's going to be one of the 10 main coaches along, underneath Colin Klein. And I think that sends a really strong message about where he wants to go with the program.
We're joined by Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com here on 580 Sports Talk. And Tim, looking at K-State hoops as we transition to the hardwood, they're 7-4 on the season, 2 more non-con games. How do you grade them out so far here as we get ready for conference play coming up just at the beginning of the year in about a week and a half?
Probably a C. I mean, I thought Creighton helped that grade. Look, I understand Creighton's not that good this year, but it was 18K on the road in an arena for a team that had been kind of on a skid. And they went out and found a way to win. They were really good offensively for a half and then did their thing and had to hold on at the end. But I don't think we really understand how good or bad this team could be right now. They are what they are. They're capable of being good and horrible in the same game. If they gather themselves and find a way to tap into their better self on a more consistent basis, they'll be much more competitive in this conference. Notice I said competitive, not competing at the highest levels, because this conference is absolutely absurd. Even cracking the top 8 seems to be something that would signify you're a pretty good basketball team.
What do you make of David Castillo's last couple of weeks of play? It seems like an uptick in minutes, but also scoring percentage too.
It's fun to watch him regain his confidence. He did great work in the gym and the strength facility in the offseason. He's stronger, he's faster, but he's mostly much more confident. This was a guy that was a great shooter in high school who didn't shoot it well last year. And that's probably from still coming off that knee injury and probably screwing up his release point on shots because he wasn't jumping quite the same. It's back. He's confident, and the work he's done on getting the ball to the rim and finishing has probably been the most impressive thing I've seen.
Couple more for Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com here in the Wildcat Wrap-Up, sponsored by Tallgrass Windows and Doors. Do you think with 2 games left in the non-conference schedule that Kansas State coach Jerome Tang has the right feel for what his rotation is going to be going into Big 12 play? Or are they going to use these final 2 games against South Dakota and Louisiana Monroe to maybe firmly hammer out what that should look like before BYU?
No, I don't think he knows what his rotation should be. And that necessarily has a rotation. He has different parts for different things. For example, Bob DeBashir shooting the ball like he did in the first half against Creighton, he's got to be on the floor no matter how bad his defense is. But the second his defense lets up, you got to get him off the floor. Or, excuse me, his offense lets up, you got to get him off the floor. So I'll be blunt. I was a little baffled by some of the rotations and what he was doing in the Creighton second half. I thought Doran Buka was really good, changed the game in the first half, and hardly played in the second half. Look, he's a guy that probably can't give you much more than 20 minutes a game, but needs to be around 20 minutes a game. And because he does. When K-State's struggling on defense, putting him right in the middle of things to guard the rim really helps his team out. And I think it really relaxed him quite a bit and helped him get up and down the floor. But on the other side, McGriff's one of their better players. And right now their rotation is 1 in, 1 out. And that's what we get.
Tim Fitzgerald covers Kansas State athletics for GoPowerCat.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. If you're looking for a last-minute gift idea for the K-State fan in your life, get him a subscription to 24/7 Sports and GoPowerCat.com. He joins us every Wednesday for the Wildcat Wrap-Up, sponsored by Tallgrass Windows and Doors. Fitz, we don't have Wednesday shows the next 2 weeks, so the next time we talk to you, it'll be 2026. Want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, my friend, and we'll talk soon.
What a gift for you, not seeing me 2 weeks in a row. Wow.
Maybe the feeling is mutual. I don't know. But Fitz, we always appreciate you around here, my friend.
Thank you, boys.
That is Tim Fitzgerald. We will take a time out, come back, and wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk after this. 456 on 580 Sports Talk. Our thanks again to Tim Fitzgerald for joining us for the Wildcat Wrap-Up, sponsored by Tallgrass Windows and Doors. I agree with Ryan in the YouTube comments. I'm Misfits for the next 2 weeks. But no Wednesday show next week. That's Christmas Eve. Then the Wednesday after that is New Year's Eve. So forgive us for taking those days off as a 580 Sports Talk collective. And then we'll talk to Fitz in January. And we'll have plenty of news, I'm sure, to catch up with.
We'll have at least one, I think, maybe just one men's conference game done.
Yeah, BYU conference opener on January 3rd. So, and then certainly more transfer portal and coaching staff hiring. We'll have a lot to catch up on when we talk to Fitz.
We'll be previewing the game against Arizona.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It'll be coming up at 8 p.m. the night that he's on.
Be a late one out there in Tucson. I do empathize with Jerome Tang on this one front when it comes to his rotation, because I agree with Tim Fitzgerald that I don't think Tang has settled on, all right, these are my 8 or these are my 9, and we're going to roll with these guys. I'm not going to mess around with putting anybody else in. These are my guys. I'm going to mix the minutes however is appropriate. But it is tough when your best offensive players and your best defensive players are different guys. When you've got the situation where you really can't play Doran Bucher and Kamari McGriff at the same time, but one of them gives you defense, the other one gives you offense. And some nights you need offense, some nights you need defense, but you're going to be worse, like markedly worse on one end of the floor or the other, regardless of what you do there. That's a tough balancing act. But Tang's got 2 more games before Big 12 play starts to get that all figured out. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, we got a lot of headlines. We've got one got to go. We're going to talk about maybe a Trent McDuffie trade. That's next on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour on this hump day edition of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you. Thanks for rocking with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and, of course, on our streaming video channels. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. We're glad you're with us. We've got a jam-packed final hour here on the show. We got plenty of headlines to get to. We could do an hour straight of headlines, honest to goodness. We're not going to do that because we got some other stuff to get to on the show. Going to play around a One Gotta Go. Got a really good one from the YouTube live chat that we're going to use coming up on One Gotta Go. And more noise about the possibility of the Chiefs looking to trade Trent McDuffie this offseason. We have done the complete 180 to Trent McDuffie is an essential core piece, and the Chiefs are going to sign him to a contract extension this offseason. The Chiefs need more talent. They need an infusion of talent and youth, and they have a high draft pick coming, and the best way to get more young talent through the draft is to trade Trent McDuffie for draft picks. We have done the complete 180, it appears, on Trent McDuffie. And honest to goodness, I think it makes a lot of sense. But Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler discussed the matter in their ESPN Midweek NFL Notes column. So we'll get into that. A little bit of discussion about where the cornerback room sits as we go into these final 3 games of the regular season. And could the Chiefs actually afford to trade Trent McDuffie? It is one of those things like, well, if you trade a good player, you'll get more draft picks. And it's always nice to have more draft picks, so you trade a good player to get draft picks. It's like in baseball. Well, we can trade this good player to get prospects. Well, yeah, maybe one of those prospects, if you're lucky, becomes as good as the good player you're trading for all those prospects. Sometimes just best keep the bird in the hand. But can the Chiefs afford to maybe trade their bird in the hand for a couple of more in the bush? That's coming up later on this hour on the show. Want to hear from you here on the program. The text line's open, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us. I mentioned the live chat on our YouTube stream. It is operational while the show is live every day. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. We stream the show live every single day from 3 to 6. And if you're watching the show live, jump in that live chat and say hello and interact with us and interact with your fellow listeners. You can also leave a comment on the Facebook stream. You can watch us on WIBW News on Facebook every day. And if you missed the show live, of course, there are many ways you can catch up with it after the fact, including just running the stream back on YouTube or Facebook. You can also just listen to the show. If you'd rather not look at us, which rude, but I understand. You can listen to the podcast audio version on our website, 580WIBW.com, and on Spotify by searching 580 Sports Talk.
Shout out our Spotify listeners.
Yes.
Gaining some steam on the Spotify.
Love to hear that. They did not ask us to record a video thanking anyone for listening to our material. That was an interesting wrinkle to the Spotify Wrapped this year. Like, I had Bomani Jones and the band Turnstile talking to me on my Spotify Wrapped, thanking me for listening. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Yeah. The Right Time with Bomani Jones was my highest listened to podcast. It would be this one, but I don't need to listen to it because I'm on it every day. It should be your highest listened to podcast on Spotify. I make the show, so I don't have to listen to it. But and then Turnstile was one of my most listened to bands of the year. So there you have it. Who is your number one listened to band on the Wrapped?
That's a good question. I don't even remember.
Do you not remember?
Just think of who it could be. And
is it Luke Combs?
Unfortunately, it was not.
Is it Post Malone?
I think I was mad about it. Hold on, let me go look at I was mad because it takes it's not a 2 screenshot of your entire year.
No, because it doesn't count December. And I think parts of November don't get caught up. Every app has a Wrapped, by the way. I don't know if you noticed this.
We should do a 580 Sports Talk Wrapped.
the closest you're going to get to that is the year in What Is Wrong With You that we're going to run on Friday with a recap of all 12 of our monthly champions on What Is Wrong With You. But no, like the MLB app has a Wrapped where you can see, man, when it came up and it said you watched 83 Colorado Rockies games this year, I said that is not true. No, don't tell anybody that is true. That is a lie. There is no damn way I watched 83 Colorado Rockies games this last year. Absolutely no chance. It also said you watched 29 of the 30 teams. I said, well, it would be 30, but y'all black out the Royals games.
Yeah. I'm struggling to find it. All I know is that I'm very happy. I made a purchase of something on September 11th. And for some reason, it was on back order for months. It was a Santana Moss shirt because he got in the Commanders Ring of Fame or the Washington Ring of Fame. It just arrived at my apartment.
Hey, well, it went around the world.
I was very distracted by that. I'm sorry.
Did it come on horseback? Like, what the hell? Anyway, no, that's good. That's happy for you there. Yeah, MLB app has a year in review. Like all your gambling apps have year in review. YouTube's got a year in review. So
I found it. It was Zach Bryant.
It was Zach Bryant. Okay, yeah.
Number 2 was Luke Combs.
I would have gotten there eventually. I think I might have guessed that
because Luke Combs didn't put out a lot of new music this year.
Yeah.
So I was still listening to the other ones, but Zach Bryant put out a bunch of new music. I saw him at concert this year.
Sure. There you go. Anyhow, let's get to some headlines that you can listen to either live or via the archive or the podcast version of the program. Our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We begin with the number 1 team in Division II men's basketball in America, the Washburn Ichabods. They played for the second straight day the number 4 team in the country. How does that work? Well, yesterday morning, Washburn was number 2 in the country, and Lubbock Christian was number 4. Washburn beat Lubbock Christian. And then the new poll came out because it comes out every Tuesday afternoon, the NABC Division II poll, and Washburn was number 1. And Lubbock Christian had moved down to number 7. Nothing to do with the results of that game. The votes had already been tallied. But the new number 4 team was West Texas A&M, and that's who Washburn played today in San Antonio, and that is who they beat like a drum today in San Antonio, 74-48. Washburn beating West Texas A&M. They held the opponent to just 24 points in the first half, 48 total. They were averaging, I think, close to 80 per game, and Washburn just put it on them. Congratulations to Washburn rural alum Jack Batchelor, Topeka's own, over 1,000 career points with his first basket of today's game. He ended up finishing with 19 points, and he is the 27th player in Washburn basketball history to score 1,000 career points. One whale of a career Jack Batchelor's had, still just a junior, and Washburn now 13-0. They are done with non-conference games. Rest of the way, it's all MIAA action from here, and not many easy nights, of course, in the MIAA. Even last year's Final Four team dropped a couple in league play. But Washburn takes the holiday off. They'll be back in action Saturday, January 3rd, when they take on Emporia State in the Turnpike Tussle at Lee Arena. That's first headline today. Spencer, give us some Chiefs news.
Yeah, a lot of Chiefs news. They make it official today. They put Patrick Mahomes on the injured reserve. You heard earlier in the show when you heard from Rick Burkholder, the director of
medicine?
Yeah.
I just say head trainer.
He gave you a lot of information about the Mahomes injury, obviously going on the IR. One interesting move that didn't happen, and our insider, Matt Derrick, did report it, is that they did not sign so they had a spot on the 53-man roster after Mahomes went on the IR, and they didn't sign Chris Oladokun. They signed, I'll get to in a minute, but Chris Oladokun, according to Matt Derrick, is expected to be elevated as the backup quarterback this week, so they'll use a standard elevation from the practice squad for him.
Going to have to be somebody.
Yeah. They have signed practice squad defensive tackle, I believe it's Zach Pickens.
Yes.
To the active roster. I believe he had a standard elevation this past weekend and played in the game. They also re-signed wide receiver Jimmy Holiday to the practice squad, and they have designated tight end Jake Brenningstool and my guy Najee Johnson to return to practice. I let you know about that before it became official.
You did. You heard about that.
So they'll get some practice time. I think that's good for Brenningstool, especially after some
Interesting comments from Travis Kelce. That
yes,
we covered those at the very top of the show. That maybe Travis Kelce dropped a hint, inadvertently or otherwise, on his future.
Yes,
but yeah. I would like to see Brenningstool out there. I'd like to see him get some snaps. I think it's pretty clear the Chiefs have given up on Jared Wiley. We would have seen more from him, I think, by now. The fact that it's Robert Tonyan getting the tight end 3 snaps over Wiley, I think, tells you everything you need to know there. So, yeah, I'd like to see Brenningstool over Tonyan if he can get back out on the field. And Najee Johnson wouldn't mind seeing some reps if Trent McDuffie's going to be out. Yeah.
What sucks for Najee Johnson is he had a pretty good preseason game that he got injured in. Like the game that he got injured in the preseason, he had a pretty good game.
Sure.
After the whole, like, is he going to be able to play? Is he not going to play? Are they going to cut him or what? But yeah, he went on the injured reserve with that, I believe, an ankle injury. The Chiefs did get back on the practice field today. A lot of players did not practice, though. Linebacker Leo Chenal dealing with a shoulder injury. Trent McDuffie dealing with a knee injury. Jalen Moore dealing with the knee injury. Rashee Rice dealing with a concussion. Tyquan Thornton dealing with a concussion. And Jawan Taylor dealing with a elbow injury. Those guys did not participate at all in practice. The aforementioned Brenningstool and Najee Johnson were among the full participants. Brenningstool had that hamstring injury in training camp where they kind of wanted to stash him. So, that word stash, put him on the IR, let him get better and see what he can do. Hollywood Brown back in the building, back on the practice field after he missed the game last week with a personal issue. Brian Cook dealing with a shoulder. Mike Edwards dealing with a shoulder, full participant. Christian Fulton still dealing with that knee injury. He was a full participant. Noah Gray dealing with a shoulder injury, full participant. Chris Jones was a limited participant with a hamstring, which is why he came out of the game last weekend. Nika Remigio dealing with a knee was a full participant along with Trey Smith. Great to see that. He's back to practice full time with the ankle. And Juju Smith-Schuster was a full participant with a rib injury. That's a lot of guys on the injury report for the Chiefs, whether they fully participated or not. Same goes for the Titans. Just we'll give you the did not participate. Kevin Winston Jr., the safety, dealing with a groin injury. Limited was Van Jefferson, the wide receiver, with a back injury. Amani Hooker, the safety, dealing with an illness. And linebacker Cedric Gray dealing with a concussion. Quite a few guys also limited in practice as well, but a lot of guys.
Yeah. I'm not going to make you pronounce Oluwafemi Oladejo. I'm not going to do that to you.
Well, you did it. So.
Yeah, I think it is pronounced as it is spelled. I think it's phonetic, but
we'll see what happens as we get further in the week.
So these guys now, I knew Okonkwo because he was on my fantasy team for a couple of weeks, and I know Jeffrey Simmons because he's a certified stud, and obviously I know Cam Ward, and I know they had Tyler Lockett for the first half of this season. I struggled to name a single other Tennessee Titan. They are irrelevant even when they're not butt cheeks like they are this year. Like they are one of the more irrelevant NFL franchises in any given year.
Which is crazy because they're building this huge stadium.
Well, you got to get a Super Bowl in Nashville. How else are you gonna do it?
I mean, yeah, but why are you putting all that effort in just for half the fans to show up next year?
To get a Super Bowl, man. That's where it's at. That's where the money comes from. Anyway, a couple of more NFL headlines to get to today. One of them on the field, one of them off the field. The on the field headline, the Tua Tagovailoa era in Miami is over. Whether that will be said out loud for now is irrelevant. The era is over. Tagovailoa, who is, as far as he goes, perfectly healthy, will not be the starting quarterback moving forward for the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers, who I want to be very clear, sucked in college. Quinn Ewers was bad at the University of Texas. Flat out, point blank period. And the fact that he was playing in playoff games and meaningful games, conference championship games over Arch Manning last year should have told us a little something about what we should have reasonably expected about Arch Manning in 2025. Quinn Ewers, 7th round pick, is going to start for the Miami Dolphins at quarterback. You know who that means isn't going to start a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins? Zach Wilson.
That's good.
Ouch, dude. At least Zach Wilson was good in college.
Yeah.
But Quinn Ewers wasn't even that. So anyway, the headline is not who is going to start. The headline is who is not going to start. Tua Tagovailoa like Mike McDaniel's just done with Tua, and I do not blame him one little bit. I think he has played his last game in Miami. Would you like to guess how much dead cap is connected to Tua Tagovailoa's contract extension?
I don't know. I do know there's a lot. If you combine,
I want you to guess.
Before I guess, I'm just going to say if you combine Tyreek's with his, that's probably like an absurd amount of money that I could never just think about.
Fathom?
Yes. Probably dead cap, say 25 million.
Higher.
45.
Higher.
65.
Higher.
85.
Higher.
105 million.
$99.2 million of dead cap attached to Tua's deal, including $54 million guaranteed.
Well, their GM got fired this year, right?
Yes. That makes Tyreek Hill's $51.8 million cap hit for next year look quaint in comparison.
150 plus million in dead cap for two players.
Let me clarify. The dead cap for Tyreek Hill is $28.25 million. So between the two players, you're still talking about $127 million. $127.5 million in dead cap. But look, the Broncos cut Russell Wilson, and they had, I think, 9 figures in dead cap when they did that. And 2 years later, they're number 1 seed in the AFC. So if you want to walk away, ignore the cap figure and just walk away and push reset. And I think that's what it has to be. I think I understood the Tua hype. I really did. I thought he was a great player in college. The injuries that he suffered to his lower body in college, those ankle injuries, the hip injury, I think compromised his throwing ability and his mobility. And then he started racking up the concussions. And what you're left with is a quarterback with a limited arm and limited mobility who can't get hit. And I don't think that's a very useful player. I was kidding around with Brendan Dworzinski off air. 2 teams right now are pretty obviously done with their quarterbacks who are on contract extensions. Who comes out ahead in a Tua for Kyler Murray trade?
I don't know, but aren't they both lefties too?
Is Kyler a lefty? I don't think so.
No,
Tua, I don't think he's a lefty. Tua is a lefty.
Can we? I hate to do this argument here, but left-handed quarterbacks just don't work in the NFL in the modern era of the NFL.
I don't appreciate this left-handed discrimination that's coming out on these airwaves, Spencer.
Shout out Steve Young for what he did, but
bigotry against left-handers is what this sounds like to me.
Tim Tebow, how long did he last?
Well, Tim Tebow would have been ass throwing with his right hand too. He was just sorry at throwing a football. Steve Young, Steve Young's the other great it's not a long list of great left-handed quarterback. You're right. It's true. I don't know necessarily why that is. Obviously, the ball spirals
the modern
differently.
era of the NFL just can't work for lefties.
I don't know that it's so much the era of the game. I think it's, you didn't see a lot of left-handed quarterbacks before then either.
Kyler Murray should just play baseball.
I wonder if you think about calling the A's, being like, "Hey, get back in the minor leagues." Left-handed quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame: Steve Young and Ken Stabler. The Snake. And
I guess Boomer Esiason was.
Yeah, Boomer
Mark
was
Brunell,
really
Mike
good.
Dick.
Yeah, Mark Brunell. Mark Brunell, you don't remember Mark Brunell.
I do remember Mark Brunell, just not the great days.
No, you don't.
I have his autograph.
I forgot about the Washington experience.
I have his autograph
for Mark Brunell. But man, you should have seen him when he was a Jaguar, man. He was something. Michael Vick, left-handed quarterback.
Fun little side story here about Mark Brunell. So one of my buddies growing up, his dad worked in irrigation. And he was like the sales guy for irrigation. And because of where we lived, just happened to irrigate a lot of the Washington football players. Because that's exactly, they all lived out where I lived. And I gave him a football card to sign. Dude brought me back a picture signed. Mark Brunell has pictures at his house that he just signs and gives to people.
I can believe that. I can believe that. Anyway, here's the other NFL headline from the day. And it's very strange because the headline that's going around is not the most problematic thing to come from Puka Nakua's appearance on a live stream with internet personalities Aiden Ross and Neon. If your child knows who Aiden Ross is, take their iPad away and ground them from watching YouTube. I want to be very clear about this first and foremost. Get your kids off that narcotic. Get your kids off of that. Aiden Ross is a video streamer who's been banned from the video streaming platform Twitch 8 times for some real hateful stuff. Like, this is not a good person. This is not a person that your 13-year-old should be watching his videos. This should not be a hero to your 11-year-old who's watching video game streamers. This is a bad guy. Anyway, Puka Nacua is palling around with him and Neon, whoever that is. And apparently Nacua invited both of them to come to the team facility this week, and they were supposed to do this stream hanging out at the facility. Sean McVay shut that down immediately. They play tonight, by the way, the Rams. The Rams, they play tonight against the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, no, they don't. They play tomorrow. Oh, my God. I thought it was Thursday again. They play
Sean
tomorrow.
McVay's had a crazy week. He's had a kid.
Yeah, he got a kid. Now he's going to have to deal with this.
And now he's got to deal with...
Now he's got to deal with this because the headline going around is Puka Nacua criticizes NFL officials. This is the quote that's going around making the rounds today. Quote, "The refs are the worst. They want to be on TV too. You don't think he's texting his friends in the group chat like, yo, you just saw me on Sunday Night Football? That wasn't pass interference, but I called it." Essentially accusing officials of making bad calls to get TV time. Criticizing the refs gets you fined in the NFL if you do it in your post-game press conference. I can't imagine it's not going to get Puka Nacua some sort of fine or nasty gram from the National Football League. That was not the worst thing he did on this live stream. Apparently, Aiden Ross, who is... So this is where it gets delicate because Aiden Ross is Jewish. Aiden Ross does this dance. Apparently, it is iconic, according to a couple of posts that I saw floating around on X, the kind of place where Aiden Ross himself is iconic. If you are unfamiliar with the Happy Merchant, I would urge you to Google the Happy Merchant. If you are unfamiliar and don't have access to Google, let me just tell you that it is an anti-Semitic caricature of a Jewish man. It is extremely, extremely offensive to Jewish people. And apparently that's Aiden Ross's little streaming dance that he likes to do, like rubbing his hands together like a greedy person, feeding into the stereotype, the unkind stereotype about Jewish people. And Puka Nacua did the dance with him and said he was going to do it when he scored a touchdown next. And I'm sure that Puka Nacua probably doesn't know what the Happy Merchant is. But, like, you can't do that, man. You can't do that in front of a camera where people can see you. You can't do that at all. That is not cool. That is not okay. That, to me, is more inappropriate than what he said about the NFL officials. And that, to me, should get him in more trouble than what he said about the NFL officials.
I just wish this would have happened in the offseason because fantasy playoffs are here.
Imagine you lose your fantasy matchup because Puka gets suspended for doing an anti-Semitic gesture on a live stream. I'd lose my mind.
Yeah.
I'd lose my mind. Like, this is the thing. What did you know about Puka Nacua before today? Went to BYU, plays for the Rams, 5th round pick, awesome wide receiver.
I think doesn't he have a cousin? Doesn't he have family in the NFL?
Probably. I know nothing about Puka Nacua. And the first time he says anything publicly that isn't like a both teams played hard, real anodyne press conference thing, he shows his whole entire ass to the world. Like, really, dude? This is how you're going to go out? This is the stuff you're going to do? These are the people you're going to hang out with? This loser, Aiden Ross, is like 5'0". He streams video games 23 hours a day. Why would an NFL player want to hang out with this person? I don't get it. This is maybe me being too old. This is maybe a generation gap thing. I don't get why you're an NFL star and you want to hang out with people who play video games for a living? What? That's only going to lead you down a bad road. That's only going to lead you to make bad decisions, do dumb stuff behind a camera. And Puka Nacua said and did some dumb stuff today, and it's going to get him in trouble. It's going to at least get him hit with a fine for the officiating stuff, but the anti-Semitic stuff is much more problematic. We got one more headline from college football. Actually, 2. We'll get to 2 real quick, Spence.
Yes, Kansas State defensive end Ryan Davis and defensive back Donovan McIntosh will enter the transfer portal when it opens up the beginning of January. What's the other one you want?
No, I'll do the other one. Okay. But I want to stop there. Donovan McIntosh, I think, played every game the last 2 years. Big defensive back, 6'3", really liked his physical prototype. Don't think he was spectacular this last year, but I really liked his potential. That's a loss for Kansas State. Ryan Davis is a big loss. for Kansas State. That was the guy all offseason that you were hearing the buzz about. He had a big spring. He had a really good fall camp. People were really, really excited about Ryan Davis. And Davis was great down the stretch. Other than that dumb play he made against Utah where he went and got himself ejected for that preposterously late and dirty hit. Other than that, he was probably K-State's best defensive player for the final 3-4 weeks of the season. Was really starting to deliver on that promise. And I have a feeling that some of that film probably attracted the attention of some schools that might be able to pay him a little bit more in NIL money than Kansas State is. So that I am guessing. I don't have any inside info there, but my guess is that Davis leaving because, again, there's been pretty good retention for players staying at Kansas State with Colin Klein coming in. They haven't lost anybody from their signing class. Joe Jackson's sticking around. Sure sounds like Avery Johnson's going to stick around. It's been mostly good news from that front. You're going to lose people every offseason, that no matter who your coach is, just the way college football is now. But Ryan Davis felt like a guy who could have made the leap next year on a defense that needs guys to make the leap. And so losing him would be a blow. And I have to believe that it is not for lack of desire to have him back.
Yeah.
The last headline I want to get into real quick, just because I want to laugh at this. ACC football, their schedule for next year. How many teams do the ACC have? Do you know? It is 17.
I was going to say way too many.
That is also a correct answer. We would also have accepted way too many. That was on the Family Feud board.
I think 11 or probably 10 to 14 is an ideal number, I think, for a conference.
So they've got 17, which means that next year they have an unbalanced schedule. 12 of the 17 teams in the conference are going to play 9 conference games next year, and 5 teams are going to play 8. And moving forward, all but one team every year will play 9 conference games, and one team will play 8. If that sounds like a really cockeyed way to play a season where you're hoping to determine a league champion, well, it is. It is. So I just want to point and laugh at the ACC there. One correction from the YouTube comments. Yes, Andrew, Jace Brown did enter the transfer portal for Kansas State. That was a mistake on my part to omit him. But again, broadly, I would say that Kansas State can feel good about the player retention so far.
I think I hit on that yesterday, actually.
No, yeah, and we talked with Fitz about Jace Brown hitting the portal, but the idea of Brown hitting the portal is not new. He almost did it last year. This is not Jace Brown's not hitting the portal because Kansas State didn't want him back, and Ryan Davis is in the same bucket. I don't think he's hitting the portal because Kansas State didn't want him back. Anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll play a little One Gotta Go next here on 580 Sports Talk. little quick game of one gotta go here on 580 Sports Talk. A little levity on this Wednesday. I only screwed that up twice today. I'm going to yield my time to Vance in the YouTube comments the YouTube live chat because I think this is a really good one. Classic Christmas television specials. One's got to go. We got How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the OG, the animated version. Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, or A Charlie Brown Christmas, I believe it is known as. Frosty the Snowman, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This one is an easy call for me because I revisit 3 of these 4 all the time. The only one as an adult that I have not gone back to revisit is Frosty the Snowman. Now, I expect in the coming years, as a father, I will probably revisit all of these, and I'll probably revisit all of them multiple times. But, like, I watched Charlie Brown Christmas last year. I watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer last year. Those all hold up extremely well. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, like the OG animated version, great. I'm less keen on the Jim Carrey movie and the CGI remake that they did a couple years back. I think the original animated version is the best. But Frosty the Snowman's the one that's got to go for me. What about you, Spence? Which one's got to go?
Gotta go. Probably the Grinch.
Really?
I'm a new Grinch guy.
Okay, you like the newer Grinch better. Okay, that's. I disagree, but to each their own. The correct answer, by the way, as to which televised Christmas special is the best one, and I have said this on the show before, and I know I am right. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Are you hip to Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas?
I have no clue.
Have you ever heard?
Just came out of your
Have
mouth.
you ever heard of the River Bottom Nightmare Band? You are missing out. Go find Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. I bet it's on Disney Plus. I got a feeling it's on Disney Plus. If it's not, find a bootleg on YouTube. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas is my favorite. Why is it my favorite? 3 words: River Bottom Nightmare Band. Anyway,
apparently it's on YouTube.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, watch it on YouTube.
It's from 1977.
Listen, some things are timeless.
That's why it could be on YouTube, probably.
Yeah, watch that after you're done watching 580 Sports Talk today. Those of you who are hanging out with us on YouTube. All right, you got a one got to go today, Spencer?
I totally was thinking of one and I lost it. I was gonna say, I can't remember the 2 ones I was gonna think of. But if you could never again hear a trend in the world, would it be? I've lost the 2 other ones. It was gonna be 6, 7, or the one where it was that song and people froze.
The mannequin challenge?
Yeah.
Do people still do that?
No, I'm saying like things that were trending at one time.
Okay. Like one's got to go as far as like
never
internet trend.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the worst of them. And I don't know the 3rd one, but
Harlem Shake?
Yeah.
The Harlem Shake? Okay.
Yeah.
Harlem Shake, mannequin challenge, or 6, 7. 6, 7 is kind of its own thing. And honestly, that's harmless. Kids are having fun with it. Like, it's silly, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, let the kids have their fun. You know, I'm firmly, you know, like.
What about Skibbity Toilet?
I don't know that one. Honest to God, the less I know, the better on that one. I'm familiar with its existence. I do not know what it means.
I don't know what it means either.
Like there's a lot of slang. I feel like more like a slang thing that I'm just not not hip to. But so my quick Harlem Shake story. The one got to go there would be the mannequin challenge. That never made any sense to me, and I would just rather listen to the song Black Eagles by Ray Shremmerd without seeing the videos. But the Harlem Shake, that was fun. People enjoy that. God, that's Harlem Shake's over a decade old. And this is how I know it's over a decade old. So my younger brother, he played professional baseball the summer he graduated from college. He was signed as a free agent with an independent baseball team, the Sioux City Explorers in the American Association. And he pitched for them through the end of their season. And on the last day of the season, his team, I don't remember who they were playing. It might have been Sioux Falls. I have no idea who they were playing. But it was a meaningless game. Both teams have been eliminated from the playoffs. I think the X's were the worst team in the league that year. One of the worst. And so, like, in the 3rd inning of the game, both teams did a Harlem Shake video. Just everybody with, like, inflatables and costumes and ridiculous things coming out onto the field did a Harlem Shake video. It was like the Savannah Bananas before the Savannah Bananas. And my brother is in it. And that is my Harlem Shake memory. That is my Harlem Shake memory. Also, the song itself stands up. Like, you just listen to the song.
Yeah.
By Bauer with 2 U's. And kind of goes. Anyway, that's one got to go. We're going to come back. Trent McDuffie, the one that's got to go in the Chiefs secondary. We'll talk about those growing rumors next here on 580 Sports Talk. Note from the NFL, the Los Angeles Rams, who do not play tonight, they play tomorrow against the Seahawks in Seattle. Their team flight is expected to be significantly delayed due to an equipment issue with the plane. I just hope nobody asks Puka Nacua who he blames.
Find another plane.
They are working on alternative travel arrangements. Anyway,
they only have to go up north though. It's not the worst.
No,
it's not like they have to go
cross country.
Yeah,
they end up flying to Buffalo. It's not quite as bad,
even to Indianapolis or something like New Orleans, like that would suck. They're just going
I'm choosing
500 miles north.
I'm choosing to believe that this makes it more likely the Seahawks will win tomorrow night. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to get rolled, but I'm just conditioned to pick the team with a better quarterback because I've seen that usually win games for the better part of the last 7 years around these parts. But obviously things are different for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they enter an off season of uncertainty. One thing we thought we were pretty certain was going to happen this coming offseason was Trent McDuffie was going to get a contract extension. Trent McDuffie, who has already been an All-Pro in his career, was going to get paid like an elite cornerback. But a funny thing happened on the way to that contract extension. Trent McDuffie didn't play like an elite quarterback this year. Trent McDuffie is still good, but Trent McDuffie has a defined weakness as an outside cornerback, and it is big wide receivers. Go back and watch that tape on Thanksgiving where CeeDee Lamb bullied him into oblivion. That is always the issue that Trent McDuffie is going to have. He's not great against the deep ball, and he's not great against big physical wide receivers. As a slot corner, literally, he's an all-pro. But slot corners don't make outside cornerback money. And I think Trent McDuffie was probably banking on another solid season, proving he was an outside corner, and he was going to get Sauce Gardner money. And I don't think that's happening. But maybe there's a team out there that views him on that level and still believes in him as an outside cornerback and might be willing to come off multiple draft picks for a young star cornerback. And now that feels more and more likely that it could be a route the Chiefs take. Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler do their weekly notes column on ESPN. And Fowler and Graziano threw out McDuffie as a possible trade candidate this offseason. Graziano writes, quote, "The Chiefs always seem to let cornerbacks go when it's time to pay big money, but a big reason they've been able to get away with that is that they always seem to have a replacement ready to go, as McDuffie was when they traded Snead, and like Snead was when they moved on from Charvarius Ward." That's L'Jarius Snead, obviously. "I'm not sure they have that heir apparent on the roster unless they think it's Joshua Williams or Jalen Watson." All right, two things there, Dan. Number one, they don't think it's Joshua Williams. That's pretty obvious. It ain't him. I can promise you that. I guess that's the only thing I had for Dan Graziano there. Because Jalen Watson's had a very good season this year. And it is worth noting that McDuffie got hurt early against the Texans, right? And he didn't play this last week against the Chargers. And the Chiefs' pass defense has been fine. Like, they haven't looked like a team who is experiencing like a gaping hole in their pass coverage with McDuffie not out there the last 2 weeks. Some of that is the respective passing games. Like, it's all contextual, but it is worth noting that the Chiefs haven't seemed any poorer off on the back end with McDuffie's absence the last 2 weeks. More from Graziano. "When the rubber hits the road with McDuffie, it'll be interesting to see whether that pattern is a result of how they value the position or if it's more about their confidence in drafting corners and Steve Spagnuolo's ability to develop them. It's also worth noting that Watson, Williams, and safety Brian Cook are all eligible for free agency after this season. The Chiefs have a lot of decisions to make about their secondary." I think they're going to bring Cook back. I don't think he's going to command the $15 million a year that Justin Reid did, or that Nick Bolton did, or Justin Reid got like $11 million a year. I think they can do something around $10 million a year for Brian Cook and bring him back. I think that makes sense. I'd like to see them bring Jalen Watson back, but they're not going to do that if they pay McDuffie, right? So it comes down to, do you want McDuffie and no Watson, or do you want Watson and a couple of draft picks? I don't think it's going to be a first rounder for McDuffie, but I think you could get a second and a fifth, a second and a fourth.
I mean, I think you have to look at the team and how you're going to have to spend money over the next few years.
They're going to open up enough cap room. I know they're millions over the cap right now, but they're going to make a lot of cuts, and they're going to get to a space where they probably
and
got
they're going to restructure Mahomes for the umpteenth time.
That's part of it too, and they're going to get to a point where they've got 30-40 million under the cap. So they're going to be able to bring back some guys that they'd like to bring back. And I think Brian Cook is one of them. And I think Jalen Watson is one of them. Because Watson is not going to command Sauce Gardner money.
Nope.
So I think that's an interesting question, because if you do keep Watson, then Watson and Noel Williams are your outside corners next year. And then you got to find a slot guy. We'll take a timeout. We got to take one, and we'll have a quick final word after this. A final word. It's got to be a quick one. Spencer Dupuis.
Hey, if Travis Kelce didn't tip his hand, it's going to be unfortunate he won't be able to go out with Patrick Mahomes throwing him his last pass.
I agree with that, but I also think that the Chiefs' young players are going to be able to learn a lot from how Travis Kelce approaches these last 3 games. He is a pro. He has a lot of pride. He is not interested in taking these last 3 games off. He's going to be a great example for the Chiefs as they navigate these final 3 games. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This is 580 Sports Talk. Good night.